Hello, thank you for joining us for our 2025 updates related to the SAT suite of assessments. We have some great news to share today. But before we begin, let's just make sure you understand a few important details about the webinar and the webinar platform. First, the presentation is being recorded. We'll send you a link to the recording in 24 to 48 hours so you can share this important information with your colleagues or you can review it again. And then second, there are some great supplemental resources in the Event Resources tab, including this PowerPoint. So take a minute to download them for reference later. If you have a question during the presentation, please submit it in the Ask a Question tab on your screen. We'll do our best to answer today, but if we run out of time, you'll hear from us via email in the next few days. And if you're here for CEU credit, please make sure you stay till the end of the session when a survey and quiz will pop up in a separate window. Now, I'd like to introduce you to the Counselor Community Engagement Team. Not everyone is familiar with this team, even people on this webinar today, but we want you to be familiar. We are all educators working to support the work of school counselors all day, every day. Lorraine Hastings began building this team in 2013. Hiring school counselors who really know the work you're doing. Lorraine, Lori Benton, Lacey Bonner, and Stacy Fani are all former counselors. And then Lorraine also added a former principal and a former teacher and behavioral coach to round out the team and make sure we're meeting your needs. So today's webinar is hosted by me, Martha Morris, the former principal. We're going to start with a quick poll question just to help me understand what your interests are today. What brought you here? What topic is of interest to you today? Is it SAT administration? Do you want to know what the fee waiver updates are? Do you want to know about SAT practice updates? Are you here to learn about accommodations? Or is it something else or all of the above? If you could just take a second and answer the poll, I will appreciate that. Oh, we have a lot of people here interested in SAT practice. Well, good. We have some good information for you. Oh, I see some more. Thanks. All right. So this is what we're going to share today. We're going to start with the SAT suite administration updates and then go into accommodations. We'll talk about an update related to fee waivers and the self-ID process. And then digital SAT practice updates. And then I've added one, an update about BigFuture School that came through in the fall that I want to make sure you're aware of. So let's start with the SAT suite administration. We want to be sure that everyone on the webinar knows what we mean by the SAT suite. It's the group of assessments connected by common content and common scores to help students and educators measure college readiness from 8th grade to 12th grade. So the PS18-9 is the first assessment in the SAT suite. It's given to 8th and 9th grade students and sets the readiness baseline. PSAT, NMSQT, and PSAT-10 allow a check-in on student progress towards college readiness. PSAT, NMSQT offers benchmarks for 10th and 11th grade students. PSAT is benchmarked for just 10th grade. They are the same test, the same level of complexity, but they're given at different times of the year. PSAT-10 is given in the spring, PSAT NMSQT is given in the fall. And then the SAT is the test that connects students to college. It has benchmarks for 11th and 12th grades, and it gives students an idea of how likely they are to earn a C or better in their first year college course. The SAT is offered as both a school day assessment and as a weekend assessment. The SAT suite of assessments together form a powerful tool that can open doors for students and educators. The SAT provides students with an affordable, well-understood way to show their readiness for college. Whether scores are required or optional, the SAT remains an important part of the admissions process, allowing every student, regardless of where they go to high school, to be seen by colleges and universities and to access opportunities that will shape their lives and their careers. Researchers have studied this, have shown that test scores can be helpful in identifying and supporting students, particularly those from underrepresented or unknown backgrounds, to help them thrive on campus. Those test scores can confirm a student's grades or even demonstrate strengths beyond what their grades show. For example, in the class of 2023, nearly 1.3 million US students had SAT scores that affirmed or exceeded their high school GPA, which means that their SAT scores were a point of strength on their college applications. Among those 1.3 million students, nearly 440,000 were African American and Latino, more than 350,000 were first-generation students, first-generation college goers, and more than 250,000 were from small towns and rural communities. Those numbers represent 80% of each of those populations and remain very stable over time. You know, in a world where 90% of SAT test takers now have average high school grades of A's and B's, and the share of students graduating high school with an A average has grown from 39% in 1998 and to 55% in 2021. The SAT scores can help students stand out and show what they know and can do. Imagine a world where grades are the only measure of academic achievement that students can include on their college application. The pressure to inflate grades would be overwhelming. We have a document in the events resources called The Misguided War on the SAT, and I think that provides an additional information about the value of using SAT scores, so take a look at it and share it with your students and families. All right, here's the big news. These are our SAT weekend dates of 2025. Because we're so committed to offering opportunities for all students who want to take the SAT, we're adding an additional test date in the fall of 2025. That will be the September 13th test date, and registration for these tests will open in May of 2025. And just so you know, we've added some new tools to the registration process, including a Notify Me service, so students can be proactively contacted as new seats are becoming available. And we are partnering with high schools that want to support their students by reopening closed weekend test centers, adding capacity to existing centers, or becoming new centers. We're exploring more flexible models for higher ed campus test centers. We're doing what we can to make sure seats are available for every student who wants to take the SAT. And we're well aware that you are probably just now getting ready to start testing season for spring in your schools. We offer the SAT and other assessments in schools on a school day, and we want to make sure that you're ready for testing as it begins. Here's the testing window for spring. You have between March 3rd and April 26th, and for fall, between October 1st and October 31st. And it's not too late to order for spring if you're interested in that. I included this slide of the best practices for readiness for those of you who are getting ready for spring testing. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but if you download the PowerPoint, you have this information available. You can review it, make sure you're on track. You're probably getting emails every week telling you what needs to be done and what has been done. But this is a reference for you if needed. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind you of the importance of doing a digital readiness check with your students. Some lessons we've learned from the previously successful administrations is that ensuring that devices meet the technical specifications, including Bluebook installation, and that students are provided with an opportunity to become familiar with the testing app are important for a successful digital testing experience. So we're asking you to complete the digital readiness check 2 weeks before your scheduled test administration. And really important to remember that exam setup can be done during this digital readiness check, and it is the only opportunity students have right now to opt into the BigFuture School mobile app. So be sure to remind students to add their mobile number if they want to get their scores on the BigFuture School app. We'll talk more about BigFuture School later in the presentation. If you're looking for any additional resources regarding testing, anything to help you with test materials or questions, make sure you visit the in-school educator experience. The website is here on your screen, and this is really great information for test coordinators, for proctors, for anybody who is getting ready for testing. There's downloadable resources, there's the coordinator manuals, anything you need is on this page. So I'm going to reference you to this page. So let's go ahead and talk about accommodations. We have some really exciting news regarding accommodations that's been well received so far. For spring, we're excited to announce that students testing with accommodations will no longer have to wait for their full extended time to move ahead or submit their exam. Additionally, extended time will now be approved for up to time and 1/2, up to double time, and up to more than double time. So a couple of details about this change. Students will have to stay for the duration of the standard time for each module before being provided with the option to move ahead in the exam. Now, multi-day testers can end their module early, but they will not be able to start their second day early. And then also, there's no change to the allotted break time. Students must continue to stay for their full breaks. We're also excited to announce the move of text-to-speech accommodations from an OS base to Bluebook embedded. This move will address customer pain points with configuring devices. So to clarify, text-to-speech does not include extended time. If a student is not already approved for an accommodation that includes extended time and it is needed, then extended time should be requested additionally. So let's take a look at how the text-to-speech and extended time updates will function in Bluebook. Please remember that while they're both in Bluebook, they are separate accommodations that require separate approval. So the new Bluebook embedded text-to-speech enhancement will feature a toolbar with basic controls, the ability to highlight the spoken sentence to start from the top or select a sentence and speak, and it will read math, tables, images, and graphs with a short description. The feature will be available on all setup, check-in, and testing pages. It'll also be available as an option on both the test preview and full-length practice tests. Additionally, the feature will be able to function offline and will not increase download size or bandwidth requirements already needed for Bluebook. So let's switch gears and review the extended time enhancement in Bluebook. When extended time students reach the Check Your Work page of their module, Bluebook will present a Next button once standard time is passed. If the student clicks Next, they'll enter a modal confirming the student wants to move on. Students must affirm they're ready to move on with the understanding that they can't go back once they opt to move ahead. And then again, breaks will remain full allotted time. So this is what text-to-speech will look like in Bluebook. Down at the bottom, there's an embedded toolbar with basic controls that have play, pause, speed, volume, and select a voice. Students can start from the top of the page, or they can select a sentence to speak. The sentence will then be highlighted while it is spoken, and it reads math items, but just short descriptions for images and graphs. And just to clarify the difference between text-to-speech, which is embedded, and the screen reader, which is not embedded, we have this table that gives you that information. Text-to-speech embedded is a built-in tool designed for students who can see detailed graphics and images. It reads all the text, passages, math problems, equations, multiple choice questions, and responses. It gives a short description of graphics and images, and extended time must be requested if it's needed. No configuration is needed for the text-to-speech tool. Now, the screen reader tool is a little different. The screen reader tool does read all text and all properties. It gives detailed descriptions of the graphics, and it includes up to time and a half with that accommodation. Some configuration is needed for a screen reader tool. And Just to give you an example of what would be different between the two, the text-to-speech might be selected by a student who has a reading disability, while the screen reader might be better for a student who is legally blind. That screen reader, that's the same as it's been since testers have been using it since 2023. These images show you how the extended time features will appear in Bluebook. The next button will only display for students approved for extended time. It will remain inactive until standard time for the module has been reached. As shown in the image on the left, if a student hovers over the next button, they'll see a tooltip providing a guidance as to when it will be active. And then when standard time is reached, the next button becomes active. When the student clicks next, they'll need to confirm that they understand they cannot return to the module if they move forward. They check the box, they click next, and they'll proceed to end of module screen and rejoin the existing flow. Great, I'm seeing a few questions coming in. We'll answer those at the end. And if we don't, we will be sure that we get back to you as soon as we can. So let's dive into the fee waiver updates. Before I'm telling you what's changed, I want to make sure I tell you what's not changing. We're not changing or updating the eligibility criteria for fee waivers, and we're not changing or updating fee waiver benefits. This screen shows the eligibility criteria, the benefits of 2 free tests, unlimited score reports, waived application fees at participating colleges, free CSS profile applications, no non-US regional fees, no late registration fees, and no cancellation fees. So those are great benefits for your students who are taking the SAT. Another thing that's not changing is the pathways to get a fee waiver. Just like last year, students will have 2 ways of getting fee waiver benefits. They can receive a fee waiver code from their counselor, or students have the option to complete an SAT fee waiver request form available via the My SAT. And if they're approved, they'll receive their fee waiver benefits directly from College Board. All students who meet College Board's fee waiver eligibility criteria, regardless of whether a student tests in school or weekend, can receive fee waiver benefits by obtaining a code from their counselor or completing a fee waiver request form and getting approval. The website on the screen offers you a link for resources and tools to help you distribute fee waiver codes. It includes forms and best practices for distributing and tracking the fee waiver codes that you give out. And a note for people in the community-based organizations, we encourage you to direct students to the fee waiver request form in My SAT because you're no longer receiving fee waiver codes. You can continue to distribute your unused codes to eligible students. They are valid and continue to be used. Now here is what's changing. We are working continuously to enhance the fee waiver program to make sure that eligible students get the benefits that they deserve. Our biggest update at this time is that we've enhanced the adult verification part of the process. Previously, students were naming an adult to verify their fee waiver eligibility, but some adults were not being contacted. So now, if a student is not automatically approved by the system, the adult will definitely be contacted to provide verification of the student's eligibility. This slide explains the updated process. The adults will receive an email for verification and they'll be asked to respond within 2 business days. If they don't respond within 2 business days, they'll be given 1 more reminder and 1 more day to approve the benefits. If they don't respond, the student will be denied the fee waivers benefits, but they can go back in within 30 days and respond, and the student will then get the fee waiver benefits. That's a little confusing, but they'll be denied and until someone hears from them. Before the reminder, they'll be pending. And then after the reminder, if it's not answered, it'll be denied. Now, we suggest that if any student believes they were wrongly denied, they should appeal the decision with SAT customer service, because they understand that we don't have insight into every student's situation. And so that appeal process is a very effective way to make sure students are approved for the benefits they deserve. All right, let's move on to digital SAT practice updates. Now, not everything I tell you today, just like in the other situations, is an update, but we want to make sure you're aware of what's available for students for practice. So we want to make sure every student is ready for the test on test day. So we've put a couple of items in Bluebook for students to have practice opportunities with the app before they test. The first that's available is Test Preview. Test Preview has no timed sections. It just gives a few questions that allows student to try out the Bluebook tools like the annotation tool and the Desnos calculator, and have them get comfortable with the testing environment. In Test Preview, questions aren't scored and students don't receive any feedback on their answers. But when students take a full-length practice test, there are time sections. Although students can leave and come back, not like they can't do that in the real test, but they can in the practice test. And they can leave and come back without losing time. They also have access to the full set of test-taking tools. And then the tests are scored, just like the real test, and students receive feedback on their responses. So the new news regarding SAT practice is that we have additional SAT practice tests to provide students with the most relevant and up-to-date practice resources. Students previously had access to 6 practice tests, number 1 through 6, but in February 2025, practice tests 1 through 3 were removed from Bluebook, although their scores are still available and the feedback is still available if they completed the tests before the cutover date. And the PDF versions of tests 1 through 3 were removed from College Board's website and replaced with updated forms 8 through 10. So students now have access to 4 additional SAT practice tests, a brand new test number 7, and practice tests 8 through 10, which include a mix of mostly new questions, but also select questions from former practice tests 1 through 3. Practice tests 4 through 6 remain in our current practice offerings. And I want to make sure you understand how practice feedback works. When students are taking a practice test, they then go to mypractice.collegeboard.org, where students log in using their College Board credential or their sign-in ticket, and they can see the results of their practice tests in mypractice.org. Also in MyPractice, students get access to the student question bank. From the practice dashboard, they can filter practice questions by section, content domain, skill, and difficulty level to tailor unique sets of questions in practice in specific areas where they need the most improvement based on the feedback from their practice test. They also can connect to official SAT prep on Khan Academy. In Khan Academy, they can take advantage of free test prep that includes thousands of additional practice questions, plus videos and lessons and hints to help build the needed skills. So this is what they get. The bulk of the analysis of their practice test results comes in MyPractice after they've completed a full-length practice test. They can use their practice test scores to get into the question bank. They can generate a set of practice-specific questions based on their test results, and they can continue to review where they need to review. This is what their practice screen looks like. So you can see they can access SAT practice tests, PSAT-related practice tests, and click on those tabs to get more information about where their strengths are and where they need to continue to grow. And I've included this slide that maybe you want to pull out and share with your students how to use the Bluebook practice tests. Use it to figure out what test taking strategies work best. Use it to figure out your pacing, reminding them that Module 1 is a little different from Module 2, and so they may want to work on pacing so they're spending the right amount of time on each module, whether it's reading and writing or math, and help them to keep track of their timing. Third, try to duplicate testing conditions. You know that you can start a practice test and stop it as often as you like, but one time it's probably a good idea to sit for a full-length practice test, understand the pacing, understand your stamina as a student, and understand how it's going to flow together. We also recommend that students get to know Bluebook while they spend some time trying out all the tools, the tool where they can mark a question and go back to it at the end of the module, the tool that allows them to annotate reading and writing passages, and also the built-in calculator. And finally, we recommend students study with their practice scores. Take a look at what is strong and what needs more work, and then go to those places that need more work and spend a little extra time. So let's talk about that student question bank where they can spend a little extra time. It has thousands of official practice questions that students can use to design their own practice experience. Just remember, they have to be logged into their College Board account or with their test ID information. And then at the bottom of the practice landing page, from the practice-specific questions page, and from the SAT Suite Public Practice website, they can access the student question bank. Students can maximize study time by focusing on questions targeted to where they need the most practice. So, for instance, they'll get results that look like this, where they have a progress bar under each domain. And progress bars fill in based on the questions that students get correct and the number of questions they get correct. So in this case, with these results, you see that this student in information and ideas has 6 of the 7 bars in the progress bar filled in, meaning they did very well on reading and on information and ideas. But expression of ideas, they have only 2 bars of the 7 bars filled in. So this might be an area that they go to the student question bank and select this domain for additional questions and additional practice in this area. Likewise, geometry and trigonometry have only 2 bars filled in. So this student would do well to take a look at that domain and practice questions there as well. And then how does official SAT prep on Khan Academy work with all of this other information? Well, Khan Academy has built a course, and we're continuing to partner with them for their talent and expertise in creating supporting instructional content focused on the digital SAT and alignment with digital SAT test specifications, knowledge, domains, and skills. Through our partnership with Khan Academy, students have access to thousands more practice questions, but in addition, they have videos, lessons, and hints, plus test-taking tips and strategies. In order to practice specifically for the SAT, they need to make sure that they choose the course titled Official Digital SAT Prep. The course is fully aligned with our content domains, and it has 13 units in the math course and 5 units in the SAT reading and writing course. So I have a couple of questions for you, just to break it up a little bit. This is going to end this section and start the next section. And what I'd like to know is, do your students use SAT practice? And I have answers here. Answer A is yes, they generally, our students are using all of these. Most of them use it all of the opportunities. Letter B says most students take at least 1 full-length practice test. Letter C, they're using the student question bank. Letter D, they're using official SAT prep on Khan Academy. And then E is not too many of our students are practicing for the SAT. And F is you're out, you just don't know, and that's okay too. Just wondering what you know and what you're hearing from students about SAT practice. And then at the same time, I'm going to lead in to Big Future School, because that's what we're going to talk about next. And what I'd like to know is, do your students use Big Future School? And letter A is yes, most of our students use the Big Future School mobile app. Letter B, some of our students use Big Future School. C, few students use Big Future School. And D, we don't allow students to use Big Future School. E is I don't know, and that's okay too. We're just wondering where things stand and where you are and where your students are with Big Future School. And with that information in hand, I will move on to talking about updates related to Big Future School. All right, Big Future School and connections. So let me just remind you that we have Big Future provides two complementary solutions that help students own their future and plan for what's next. There's Big Future and the Big Future School mobile app. We're going to go into more detail today about Big Future School and what it can offer in-school test takers in your schools. Any student can use bigfuture.org to explore career options, to plan for college, and to pay for college, regardless of their intended path after high school, regardless of whether they took the SAT in school or on a weekend, or if they haven't taken the SAT at all. Any student has access to Big Future. We want to make sure that as many students as possible can see themselves in their future planning process. So we want to help make college and career relevant and actionable for students in Big Future. Big Future School is a mobile app that students who take the PSAT 10, the PSAT NMSQT, or the SAT in school can use to do things like access their scores. We think that this is a great opportunity when scores come out for students to spend some time thinking about their future, dive into how they did on the test, and think about how that relates to what they thought or think they want to do as they move forward in their lives, whether it's related to college or career. So in the Big Future School app, they have more control over their plans for the future. They can explore customized guidance from College Board. They get lots of information about what is coming in college and career in that guidance. And they also have the opportunity through connections to hear from hundreds of nonprofit colleges, scholarship providers, and government agencies administering education programs. So the Big Future School mobile app is a really big way for students to open doors to thinking about their future. And in 2024, in the fall, we added a couple of new features that I want to be sure you are aware of. We rolled out the College Search and the Career Explorer features to support students in their college and career journey. And they can find these features at the top of the homepage in Big Future School. The tools are easily accessible to students and they empower them to pursue what's next. They reinforce the idea that Big Future School is the place for planning their future. College Search is driven by state and it includes filters for acceptance rate, for SAT range, for level, meaning 4-year or 2-year school, and type of school. In addition to College Search, there's Connections. And any Connections schools who have reached out to a student will appear in their results with an Interested in You flag. What a great thing for students to get to hear from colleges directly in the app. And we want to share what students are saying about the app. It's highly rated in the Apple App Store and Google Play stores. Here's a quote from a student. "This app is a great tool for students who are on their college search journey. The Interested in You feature is a great addition because it gives insight to schools a student may not have initially looked into. The feature of saving messages is also a great tool because it will help students not lose important information they might forget about. Having scores be easily accessible is another great idea. Ultimately, this is a great app. And then here's another quote. I absolutely love how user-friendly it is. The interface is simple yet appealing to the eye. The structure of the app is also studiously compelling. It would be good if you guys were to put SAT, ACT testing dates, etc. on there too. Other than that, I love this app already and I can't wait for it. And then 5-star school and experience. So students are very positive about their work in the BigFuture School mobile app. All right, I hope that answered your question there. The next question is, and the question says, do you have any helpful curriculum or activities related to post-secondary planning? And we're going to recommend that you take a look at our BigFuture Toolkit for Counselors. And I'm going to share that with you right now so that you can see what's in the toolkit. And I'm going to share a specific resource that you'll find interesting. So let me share my screen. Great. So we're here again at the collegeboard.org/counselors website. And here in the middle are our top toolkits. And you can find here the BigFuture Toolkit for Counselors. As I said, there's also a link in your event resources if you want to get there quickly, but this is to help you in case you lose that. In the BigFuture Toolkit for Counselors, we have lots of resources for you. We have links to other websites. But we have some downloads like the BigFuture College Search Worksheet, the Build a College List lesson plan, the Plan for College Flyer. These are all great resources for you to use with your students. And here's the Counselor Guide to BigFuture.org and BigFuture School. We also have some resources for students who are looking for ways to pay for college, for scholarships. We have a PowerPoint for you to share with students to help them find scholarships and a Pay for College Flyer. And then again, we go into Explore Careers. You have an Explore Careers flyer, a PowerPoint, a Career Insight snapshot flyer for students and families, and a video that you can share with students on your webpage. But the piece I want to show you now is our newest College Advising Essentials BigFuture edition. This is a PDF that is filled with information for you as counselors, but also filled with handouts that you can share with your students and families. It includes lesson plans for you to use with your students, and it has checklists for each grade to help them get ready for college and career planning. So you see here, this is information for counselors as indicated in the upper right corner. We have information for students that you can use as a handout. We have some great features here that you can give visuals to students so they know what they're seeing. And then here's the college worksheet, the lesson plan, information about student search service, and then those planning checklists. So downloading the College Advising Essentials will really give you some great information, help you plan college and career lessons with your students. All right, let's see, what other question can I answer? Here's a great question. Student PSAT scores used to link to Khan Academy. Is that still true? Well, it's not true in the same way. When we first started official SAT test prep on Khan Academy, students who took tests in Khan Academy would be have their test scores. Actually, students who took the tests would have their test scores linked into the Khan Academy system so Khan Academy could build individualized, personalized practice. It doesn't work that way anymore. Students' test scores stay in My Practice, and students then can build their own personalized practice using the student question bank. But There is a link to Khan Academy in the My Practice website, and it will take them directly to Khan Academy, where they can see which content domains that they need to practice in, and they can use those content domains to guide their video lessons, their and other information that they're going to get in Khan Academy. I hope that's helpful. Now, someone was looking for more information about accommodations, and I'm going to direct you to the accommodations website because those are the people who are the experts in accommodations. As you know, I'm not a person who works in accommodations. I work with school counselors, and I was a former principal. But if you go to accommodations.collegeboard.org, that is where you're going to find the most up-to-date and the most detailed information about accommodations. And this is where you can learn the basics and also make requests, get involved with SSD Online, all of those things. So accommodations.collegeboard.org is your go-to place for information, additional information about accommodations. Thanks for those great questions. I'm going to move ahead and close us out so that you have time for your CEU quiz if you're interested. I just showed you the College Board for Counselors website, and I want to make sure you know what else is there other than the toolkits. It's a great place to go for additional professional learning. All of our webinars are linked there. We also have links to PD modules. We have some incredible resources like the College Advising Essentials that I shared with you today. We have other advising resources for you, and we have some great modules for new counselors who really need to start at the beginning and take a look at College Advising 101. My colleague Stacy Fani has built these modules. They've been really well received. They're very informational, and I think you'll get a lot out of them. So go to College Board for Counselors, collegeboard.org/counselors, and bookmark this so that you can check back for all the new things that are posted regularly. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you got some good information on what's coming, what's updated, and what's staying the same in SAT administration, accommodations, practice, and BigFuture School. At the close of the webinar, we ask you to please complete our evaluation. We want to make sure that we are providing the professional development that you need and the training and information you need. So that evaluation is very important. If you want to earn CEU credits, you can take the 5-question quiz. And then when you receive the link, please feel free to review and share today's webinar. It'll be forwarded to you in your email address in 24 hours. Thank you so much for all you do in service to students. Have a great day.